stone remembers fading breath. A solemn tone begins to rise, a quiet hymn untouched by death. Dust is woven through the light, where silver smoke ascends and breaks, and through the vaulted empty hall a distant echo slowly wakes. Sing the chant of the hollow pillars, where the echoes carve the air. Let the embered hush awaken all the names forgotten there. Sing the chant of the hollow pillars till the silence bends aside. Let the ancient vows abide. Across the fractured altar stones, a trembling heat begins to glow, as though beneath the ashen frost a buried oath still moves below. The lantern flame is faint but warm, it paints a circle around the ground, and in that dim and sacred ring a woven choir forms its sound. No flame must roar of thunder, no cry of mortal pride, for the whispers hold more power than any voice outside. Sing the chant of the hollow pillars, where the night no longer weeps. Let the last remaining embers guard the vow that darkness keeps. Sing the chant of the hollow pillars till the silent halls are stirred by a inward sound. Where silent healers lean and fade, a distant echo stirs the dust, like names forgotten, half engraved. The lantern smoke ascends in across the arch of empty air, and something soft begins to move, a breath of what once lingered there. Hear the voices in the hollow sepulchre, where the twilight gathers slow. Let the murmurs trace the upon the stone. Its warmth endures where footsteps bled. Dust dissolves into the dark, like memory swallowed by the choir. Yet through the softened veil of time, the quiet shapes of sound revive.
Chambers carved
Beneath the granite crypt we stand, where silent echoes breathe the dust. The lantern's glow is fading low, yet still it burns with ancient trust. Across the stone a whispered tone unfolds where fallen names reside, and through the hall of shallow light the solemn chant begins to rise. Sing the litany beneath the granite crypt, where forgotten voices wait. Let the hollow air awaken what the dusk cannot abate. Sing the litany beneath the granite crypt, where the embers softly stay, guarding vows that will not fade away. Along the walls of fractured stone, a trembling warmth begins to stir. The air grows still as years dissolve, yet fragments of the past occur. The dust of centuries ascends, reshaping shadows into form. And in the hush of sacred cold, the chant resumes, both faint and warm.
No sorrow bends this calling, no silence breaks its thread, for memory breathes within us, a flame long left for dead. Sing the litany beneath the granite crypt, where the night forgets the dawn. Let the softened glow of embers guide the path we walk upon. Sing the litany beneath the granite crypt, where the vow remains unbroken, in a hymn that still is spoken. Upon the stone where embers sleep, a distant vow begins to wake. The fading glow beneath the ash still trembles like an ancient ache. Lantern smoke ascends in rings, tracing shadows on the wall. And through the hush of a winter dusk we hear the quiet voices call.
In the light of the fading ember crown, where the fire once ruled the night, let the last remaining spark endure, till the dawn replaces light.
In the light of the fading ember crown, where our memory lies concealed, let the
stars time could not hide. A thread of heat beneath the stone still flickers, though the flame has died. Silent banners drape the hall, soft with dust of solemn years. And from the corners of the dark, the choir speaks in silver tears.
We gather not for mourning, but to guard what once was bright. A fragile ember held in silence, sheltered from the dying night.
In the light of the fading ember crown, where forgotten prayers remain, let the sparks that linger quietly fold their warmth into our name. In the light of the fading ember crown, where the last faint glow is found, let the earth return to ground. Within the deep shrine we wait, where dust has sealed the distant years. A breath moves through the hollow stone, soft as whispers drawn from tears.
The embers sleep beneath the floor, a silver warmth beneath the cold. And from the arches carved in shadow, trembling echoes stir the old. Hear the breath of the deep and shrine,
Where forgotten vows still shine.
let the echo rise in fading air.
Where the silent prayers remain.
Hear the breath of the deepened shrine,
Where the dust recalls the flame, and the past still speaks unknown.
the oil burns down to faintest trace, a fragile glow beneath the stone. Yet in its shiver lies the binding of a promise not outgrown.
Beyond the walls, the cold descends, frost upon what once was light. But through the hush we hear a call, a softened hymn that wakes the night.
No crown adorns the ritual flame, no choir floods the ancient air. Yet still the harmony returns, as the faded mark of ancient rain still glimmers faint on broken walls, and in the dust of fallen names an echo through the darkness calls.
Hear the whispers of the withered ground, where the embers turn to gray. Let the sorrow in the silence guide the path they could not stay. Hear the whispers of the withered ground, soft as breath within the hall, where the throne remains in fall.
The tapestry that once held gold now drapes the ruin cold and still, and though the torches now have dimmed,
The air recalls their fleeting will. No footsteps tread the marble stair. No herald speaks the royal sound. Yet something faint remains alive beneath the fractured burial ground.
not a vow of steel or fire, not a triumph carved in stone, only remnants of devotion softly searching for a home.
Hear the whispers of the withered crown, where the light no longer gleams. Let the faded oath reawaken in the hush between the dreams. Hear the whispers of the withered crown, where the shattered voices weep for the rule they could not keep. Within the quiet halls of stone, where fading embers softly glow, a distant voice begins to rise, a call from days we used to know.
Shadows gather like a crowd as lantern flame begins to sway, and through the hush of crimson light, the ancient vow returns to stay.
Sing the chant of the crimson altar, where the silent echoes fall. Let the lanterns guide our longing through the dark beneath the wall. Sing the chant of the crimson altar, where the memory still remains in the whisper of forgotten names.
Upon the marble cold and warm rest fragments of an older time. of song we left behind still tremble like a faded ride.
The oil burns with silver smoke, a fragile trace that lingers slow, and in its glow the night unfolds, the story no one living knows. Sing the chant of the crimson altar, where the silent echoes fall. Let the lanterns guide our longing through the dark beneath the wall. Sing the chant of the crimson altar, where the memory still remains in the whisper of forgotten days.
We gather not in fear or sorrow, but to summon light within.
A sacred flame that time cannot hollow, a warmth beneath the skin. Sing the chant of the crimson altar, where the shadows drift and bend. Hold the ember close in silence, for the night will never end. Sing the chant of the crimson altar, where the past becomes a flame and the heart returns again.
Within the veins of silent earth, where broken marble sleeps below, a trembling hush begins to move, like lantern smoke in fading glow. The hollow air remembers names engraved in dust beneath the stone, and in the cracks of weathered walls, a distant breath returns alone. Through the veins of the forgotten sepulchre, let the fading embers rise, where the vow was laid in shadow. Let the ancient truth abide. Through the veins of the forgotten sepulchre, where the cold has sealed the flame, still the whisper speaks our name. Across the pillars worn by time, the silver ash begins to fall. A solemn thread of warmth survives, a spark beneath the frozen hall. In though the night resists the dawn, the memory burns behind the veil, as though its pulse still binds the past, through silence carved in fragile pale. Not sorrowed, not broken, but quietly preserved, a vow beneath the ages, unspoken yet preserved. Through the veins of the forgotten sepulchre, where the choir dimly stirs, let the remnants of the ember rise through dust that time prefers. Through the veins of the forgotten sepulchre, where the ancient ashes gleam, we return within the dream. And stone remembers fading breath. A solemn tone begins to rise, a quiet hymn untouched by death. Dust is woven through the light, where silver smoke ascends and breaks, and through the vaulted empty hall a distant echo slowly waves. The chant of the hollow pillars, where the echoes carve the air. Let the embered hush awaken all the names forgotten there. Sing the chant of the hollow pillars till the silence bends aside. Let the ancient vows abide. Across the fractured altar stones, a trembling heat begins to glow, as though